Yeah, so one, it's great to have everyone back in person. It's like a very lively and active conference. Alicia Borsa, the new chair, who's a great leader in our industry, kicked off with a lot of themes yesterday, which I think are very relevant, and certainly relevant to what we're doing at Experian. Talked about the importance of understanding measurement, how identifiers are changing, and how in a difficult economy it's going to be incredibly important for advertisers to drive performance, right? Which for us as a data business, those are all areas where we agree.
So let's talk about let's talk about identifiers to begin with. What would you make of the state of there's various identifiers vying to be the one for digital advertising?
Yeah, the identifier environment has become fragmented. So we used to live in a world of cookies and maids, which were universal and everywhere, and they were free and anyone could use them. And we're now living in a world where there's a lot of private companies and a variety of different players who are bringing different identity solutions to the table. I think that's good because cookies and mobile identifiers were not really made for how they've been used in advertising to date. So it was time to upgrade that technology. What I think is interesting is that now we have a business around identity, and it's competitive and has lots of strategic implications for a variety of players.
How does the identifier conversation translate or not translate to CTV?
Great point. To me, I think things like CTV are a look into what the future is going to look like. So in the CTV environment, this is a space that was born without cookies from the beginning. So there was never anything to go away. And I think what we're seeing is that clients and partners in that space are actually looking to companies like Experian and others to help them navigate. So you have a very fragmented identity landscape in CTV. At the same time, you have a lot of growth in ad dollars coming into the space. And marketers are approaching CTV the way they would have approached programmatic 5 years ago. They want automation, they want targeting, they want performance, they want optimization. So to me, I think it's a look at what the environment might look like in the next 5 to 10 years. We're not going to have a common identifier like cookies to start with, but we still need to hold the standards of measurement, performance, and all the things that we've come used to in digital advertising.
Speaking of measurement, how would you grade the way the currency evolution is going through television and where it might be headed?
Also an area of great change. Similar to, I think, the cookie argument, companies like Nielsen obviously have had a lock on that market for many, many years. They do a great job and they're experts, but I think as the world is changing, I think marketers and platforms and partners are asking a very fair question of, hey, could we look at this through a different lens? And there's a lot of alternative companies that are popping up to answer that question, and many of them are doing a good job. So I view it as a competitive market, which is a good thing, and should drive more results for the advertisers and the publishers.
From a data company's perspective, the dream with CTV is it's going to be the best of digital and the best of television. I'm not sure if we're there yet. How would you kind of map out how things are going along that path?
We're not there yet, but we are on the way, and I think we're approaching it in the right way. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're not starting from a baseline of cookies or any kind of common identifier. So what's this doing? I think on one hand that's a challenge, but on the other hand it's opening up marketers' eyes to the possibilities of companies like Experian and others that have always had extremely powerful data sets that describe consumer behavior around credit and commerce and all these important areas. So it's opened the door, I think, for a wider array of companies to play in the space. And again, I think that's ultimately to the marketer's benefit. To your question of where are we, still quite early. I think the dollars are flowing in very aggressively into CTV. That makes sense because the audiences are there. But in terms of really hitting that point where we know exactly how to measure, optimize, convert, I think we're on the way.
Yeah. Similarly, attribution is supposed to come to television in the same fashion as digital. Where are we on that continuum?
Making progress. I think it's important, though, in that conversation to remember that not every advertiser has, hard conversion metrics. I was speaking with someone earlier who was talking about brand lift studies, and when you think about CPG companies, like for example, if I was Hershey's chocolates, those products aren't sold on a website in a DTC way. I'm not going to buy a chocolate bar, through a DTC portal. So there's still a need for brand and brand lift and all the kind of traditional marketing metrics, especially in certain categories and certain products. But those measurements are improving as well. So I think you're going to see more real-time, more focused, more cross metric attribution. So in other words, maybe you could see your brand lift as well as your sales performance all in one place. So I think the landscape is improving, but the work continues.
What else are you helping to learn this week at IAB?
I'm interested mostly to hear the trends that the leadership of all these companies are thinking about and talking about. I was very encouraged to hear that a lot of the things that we're working on are on the agenda of most companies. So measurement matters to people. The change in identifiers is a huge subject. We're still several years away from the deprecation of cookies, if that ever happens. So a lot of the topics that we care about and we focused on are on the agenda of the very top marketers in the world.